Good morning, traders. Happy New Year to all of you. Hope you guys enjoyed your celebration of the new year and hope this new year brings you good health. I think that's the most important thing, good health, because without good health, everything else is irrelevant. Good health, lots of joy. That's the second most important thing you need in life. You need some joy in your life. Everything else is irrelevant if you have health and you're unhappy. So hope you get some joy in your life and success. If you're happy and you're healthy, the next thing you need is some good success, right? Whatever you're doing. And since we're all traders, successful trading. So we have very big plans for our group this year. I've told you guys last year already. We are going to make sure that what we are doing gets to the maximum peak and make it better than it was last year. Last year, I think it was amazing. A lot of you did excellent. The trading room worked perfect last year. I think we can make it better. Well, it worked great, so we can work towards perfection. I shouldn't say it's perfect. I said it worked great, and we work towards perfection. So we can take it a step up from what we did last year, streamline the timelines. We were in the room. I think most of the time we were in the room 5 or 6 times a day. We could make that, set specific time for that and get in between. We can still get updates, right? We can set it up now for those of you who want to follow so that we can set it somewhere where you will get notification every time we take a trade in the trading room. Because a lot of trades that we took in the trading room by a lot of the other guys as well, when I'm not there, very good trade calls, but not a lot of people get the message or not a lot of people took the trades. So we can set that up, coming back to it like this is not the first time we're trying to do it. We'll continue to do it until we get it structured somewhere that the notification go to all our traders. I think that's the next up stage we can work towards. And from there, it should be amazing, right? So hopefully also there's some of you waiting since last year for a live session. I hope by the end of January, February, we will do a live session. So also for traders who are going to be watching this on YouTube, if you would like to join our group, please send me a message on Skype or I don't know, Facebook. Skype is the best way, but you can send me on Facebook as well. And I will give you the details of how to join the group and what we do. So my Skype is MANGAL457. Just send me a message that you're interested and I will give you all the details here so we don't turn this into an ad. Let's go. Today, what we're going to do, since it's the first webinar for the year, we're going to do some long-term, 4 hours daily forecast. And then during the day, I would do some short-term one. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're getting the long-term only, and you would like to have within the day 5 or 6 more webinars short-term, which is what I would do today or within the week. If you would like to get that, then you can follow me now on Share Vision, right? I'm on Share Vision now, and they do, it's mostly for videos. You can post, you can go live, and you can do that. I tried to go live. The live is not working. See, I think they get this glitch every now and then. I'll contact them. They'll solve that. So I'll go live, but I will post the videos up there. So the videos that I will be doing for my group, I will post them up here. So you can go to my channel and find it. So how do you find my channel? When you scroll down, you will see top channels, and ProWave Edge is the top channel, which is mine. So you're going to go there. It's only 140 subscription. I hope by the end of this week, it's over 1,000 that you guys would subscribe, because there will be a lot of videos this week that I'll be putting out. It will be videos, short-term forecasts. It will be videos with actually trade setups, short videos, about 5 minutes videos with actual trade setups. So if you want to see them, subscribe, set up the notification. And when I post one, you will get it, right? So those videos with trade setups will be valid for a couple hours, because they'll be only 1 hour. There will be a trade we're taking in our trading room, and we will post them in there. It will be very short videos, so you wouldn't waste your time watching something very long if you don't want to watch, right? And that's it. So you can come and you can also click a like on these, make a comment, and you can watch them, right? Make them top videos so that more people get to see them if you like what I do, of course. So let's go back, take out Share Vision from here. I think for the start of the year, that's enough information. Let's go straight into the charts now. So let's start with the dollar index. Dollar index daily. Let's start with the daily. If this webinar gets too long, I'll break it up also into a number of parts. So for the rest of the week, you would have to follow me. Make sure you're getting the notification to get all these videos, right? Because there's going to be a lot of videos this week. So If we're looking at the dollar index on the big picture, which is on the weekly, it's doing exactly what we expected to do. If you look at my forecast last year, right? We looked at this last year and we decided this might eventually, once we got this might eventually give us something like that. And which means we'll have to have an impulse up like this. Now, we were expecting it to break the low. It didn't break the low. It missed the low by a very, very slight piece, right? That's okay. You can go with a contracting flat. They do exist. Now, the question is, how fast this gets to the top there? And when it gets to the top there, what actually happens? How high does it go and what happens? In terms of how fast and how high, if you're trading on the 1 hour, that is irrelevant. That's just for, forecasting purpose, right? In terms of trading, you would be trading 1 hour flag, so that is irrelevant to you because you'll be trading up and you'll be trading down and you'll be trading up and trading down and trading up until it stops, turn, and then you reverse that trading. Because I believe when this finishes, we're going to have a very sharp drop. Because if you look at the chart, the way it's structured, right? This was a very sharp drop. And I don't think this belongs to anything in the past because we don't have anything in the past there that says that this belongs. This looks more like a correction of its own. This might be a correction of its own that drops one more. It doesn't have to drop really far. It just has to retest this low because this is looking very flat. So once we break that top, this might be more of a correction to drop here. Now, how high would this go? I don't know. If it comes and it retests this stops, then it's just going to come back here and then we'll go up. Right? So a lot of it depends on how and how far that impulse goes on the long-term picture. But for us, at least for the next couple months, we wanted to retest this stop. So we want this to go there. This is your trade for the next couple months. Both ways, up and down, since you're trading on the 1 hour, right? So we're assuming that this is over. This flat here is over. 1, 2, 3. Just like this, right? 1. Actually, there's a 2 in here. You wouldn't see it that way, and 3, but because you wouldn't see this up and down move there. But this is a perfect flat as it stands, so you don't have to have anything more. This just needs to go up. And when you go into the daily, you would see that we're getting a daily consolidation here. You can call it a daily flag if you want. It's actually a daily correction because daily don't have flags, 1 hour have flags. And you're looking at this sideways and we went up. So there's a high probability this is coming out. Now, I don't know that this piece is coming out. Maybe it will spend some more time here and then come out. Maybe it will make a sharp move down here first and then come out. But eventually it is going to go out. But since we also do not trade in the daily, it doesn't matter to us what's the formation in there before it actually goes out, what pattern it creates. So then we can go to the 4 hour and we can look at it to see whether we can identify what pattern it's making. And right now it looks like we're still in big consolidation because this move down was not really sharp. This move up was not really sharp. The only sharp move that we have was the first move down. So I wouldn't be surprised if we stay in this range for a longer period of time, which means this could probably go back up like this, come back down sharp, and then eventually go out of it. Right? That possibility exists. Right? So we would have to just keep an eye on this to see how it develops. And can we trade in that range? So what we would do normally in my group is we'll put the range. And if the range is large enough, we will trade within the range. So if you have more than 100 pips in here, it's a tradable range. This one has quite a lot, right? Much more than 100. So it's a tradable range. It's a range you can trade up and down as long as you keep watching as the pattern develops. So you go on the 1 hour, and in the 1 hour, well, this is what we have. This was a sharp move up, relatively sharp move up. They drop, drop, drop. I think this sharp move up could be a running flat. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come down back here, right? The only way this is going to go back up is if it stays here for a while. That's one impulse up. I'll be very careful. We would buy this, but we'll be very careful that it can just break the top and still come back down because this sharp move hasn't gone anywhere. We haven't got anything for that one. Now, what if it is actually coming down from here? Well, we don't have a sell setup as it stands right now, but once it comes down here and make a flag, we will get a sell setup to break the low. And once the low is broken, we'll be looking for the upside because that will be the bottom of the range. We're looking for the upside. Now, if you get any of that, if you understand any of that, you're very close to wave analysis trader, right? Now, if that doesn't make a lot of sense to you, like why would it do this and why would it go up? Why would it go down and how? Well, I don't know the why, but I know how patterns behave. And we have seen many of these patterns in the past. I mean, thousands and thousands of them. That's why we make those forecasts. And that's why we wait for the confirmation. When you make a forecast, you also have to wait for a confirmation of the forecast. And when you get the confirmation of the forecast, then you make sure you have your setup. And if you have your setup, then you take the trade. Now, all of that avoids you taking a trade that is not ready to go, right? So prevents you from taking losses that are unnecessary. There is still a risk when you take the trade, and that is why we use money management and we use everything else to prevent losing too much if the trade doesn't go your way, right? Most likely, if you have the forecast correct, it will go your way. And that's a very high probability using this method that we use, right? So right now, I am expecting a downside from here. We will see how this develops. If this stays where it is, it might give us just a short-term buy, but still I'm expecting this for now. But we will take the buy. If I'm wrong and we get a buy, it will go to the top and might even break out of the whole structure. This might be the final wave down. I don't think it is. Based on my understanding of, my knowledge of how wave behave, that's a little strange, right? So we'll see. We'll just wait and we'll see. And I don't even think this is ready to come out of this as yet, because the correction in here is going to be a very huge correction, which means if this comes here, we might still be going up and down some more before we actually get out of it. Let's see. We'll keep, but eventually this will get out. So there's another method of how you can trade this. You can just leave it to do what it wants, and every time it comes to the low, you buy. So if you were doing that, you would be in a buy here going up already. And there were buy setups going up. But since that was last year, we would ignore that and we'll assume let's start from now, this year, today. So today we're expecting either a short-term buy or a sell back to retest the low. Let's see which comes first and which setup we get to take the trade. We don't have either of those setups right now. Not for the buy, not for the sell, right? You don't have either of the setup. There was a sell setup here, but nobody would have got that because it actually gapped and then it went to backs. And I don't think anybody saw that happening. Unless you had an entry there, you're tagged, you will take that trade off and you will look for another setup, right? If you're tagged in it, because we don't take that. Once it doesn't go the way we want it to go, we close the trade and re-enter again. And that's another thing you have to be careful that we use, a method we use in our strategy that avoids keeping the trade too long if it's not going your way, right? Let's go, silver. These are easier ones because the patterns are much, much easier. So we're still in the downtrend in this piece coming down here. It's a big sideways. If you notice, I already have this prepared with the two lines in it. We're within that range and we're coming down, right? So this is a downward. Remember, we think dollar index might eventually go up, but first it will stay somewhere in the range. I also believe this one is going to stay somewhere in the range. And here is it. This one will eventually go up, at least to break this down. I don't see this sideways coming down, but it might not go the same time the dollar index goes up, right? So this might eventually come here. I think we're going to see this some sideways here, drop to this one because this is going up very slow. We're still in this piece, break this low again. We don't have to, we broke it already, but we can break it again. And then I think this one is going to come back here, maybe come down here, and then eventually we're going to go. So we might still be in this sideways. I don't think we're coming too deep. Now, because this is a correction, it could eventually come much deeper all the way to about this level before they go back up. So that possibility also exists, that you can come pretty deep down with this before you go back up, because we're in a big corrective structure in the weekly, right? We're pretty much in a huge corrective structure, see? So that means that we would monitor this for short-term trades both ways. And, whichever comes first, you take the trade. Since you're trading short-term, we would look for a short-term trade here. Probably this comes back here. And we'll see if we get a drop. They did tag. They don't have to break the top on a running flat. It's 1, 1, 2, 3. You go back up there. That's enough. There's no necessity to break the top in a running flat like that. And then if it starts to drop from here, retest this low. So the only trade I'll be looking for is retesting the low if we get a setup. It's making a setup right now. It's not ready as yet, but if this goes back up a little, that would give us a setup. If this comes back up a little here and then drop, that would be the setup. What if they come back to retest this stop? Well, then this would become a bigger flat here. This would be one of its own. We'll probably see another move up, pull back like this, go break the top and still drop. Because I'm not looking at the upside of this as yet, although we broke this low. I'm not looking at the upside of it as yet because it's going very slow. Right? When they go as slow as this is going, I'm careful to go on the upside. So when would we look at the upside? Well, once we break all these stops, and if we start to see consolidation here, that would mean going up. See? So it's a very complex method, right? It's not like you can learn it in a day. It's a very complex method. You start understanding based on how the changes in the patterns are developing. And then you can see which direction it's going. It's not that difficult. It's complex. It's not that complicated, and you can actually do it. It's doable. You just take a lot of time to learn all the patterns and learn the changes in the patterns and how they behave, right? So it's all about the behavior patterns of the chart. We identify patterns, we have known patterns, we see what they look like, and we decided, you know what, this might be making this pattern. If it's going to make this pattern, you need X, Y, Z. And once that starts to happen, we go for the trade setups, right? Gold, pretty much in the same one. And from last year, if you were following me from last year, you would have known that we thought this could be a running flat, and there's a good chance we're coming to retest this stop. Here is the difference between gold and silver, is that gold is in a downward pattern. This came from the top. So if we go back to this stop, come back here, go back there, we should come lower in this direction. And then we'll decide if we're going up from there. Right, that would be a big daily pattern, daily, weekly pattern. So the most immediate pattern we're looking for is upside. We're looking for upside in this. I believe we're making some kind of a running flat here. There's a good chance we're doing it. I thought this was the running flat and this would go, but when they pull back like this, the chances are they can make a series of them and then go. Right, it is still a running flat. It's just a series of running flats in each other before they go, right? We've seen that. You can see a lot of them like this, and a lot of them like this, and then they make this, and then they go, right? So we're looking at the possibility of that happening here. I still think I'll be very, very careful with a sell. Even if I get a sell set up here, right? I'll be very careful with that because it might be short-lived, right? If you're gonna take it, you have to be aware that it could be short-lived. Now, there is a chance they retest the low and then go back up. That's a very slim chance, but there is a chance for that, right? It's not impossible. It just will make this from a running flat into an expanding flat. Most likely, if they drop to test this low again, it will be more of an expanding flat before you go up. So from a running flat, we get what we call an expanding flat. And that is an existing pattern, which means that possibility exists. Knowing the patterns is knowing that it exists. Do we have a sell set up? Not as yet. They're going sideways for about a couple hours here. In the 1 hour, you can see that. They're going sideways for a couple hours, but the sideways like this, right? In the 1 hour, sideways like this, eventually this goes up and then you do this and you go up and you do this and then they just take off, right? We've seen that possibility. What they have is a series of small air, creates more like a smaller leading diagonal pattern in 5 minutes or something like that, and then it just takes off. So although it looks like a flag, it might be a 5-minute leading diagonal, 10 minutes leading diagonal that will eventually take off to the top. I'm always looking at a bigger pattern. What is the bigger pattern telling me? Either this is the running flat and we're going down, or either this is still making a series of running flat. This comes back here, come here, and then boom. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. We're prepared for either outcome. If I get a buy set up anywhere in here, I'll take the trade to the top. So we want this to go up, make a flag here, a flag that is you can buy, something like this. That was a sell. And that sell happened when we broke through this and make a flag here. Right, now you get a sell setup. So the same thing will be here. Go on the top there, make a flag here, and then we'll look for the buy setup. That would be a good trade. So you can see in the bigger picture, they're just going sideways. And when you're in a sideways correction like this, you can go both sides, right? Because the patterns in the correction can change. So you will end up going both directions. We would look for the setups before we take any trade to the upside. So if you follow me in Share Vision, I would be posting those short-term trade setups. We're looking at this one very carefully because we find this to be interesting in the weekly structure, if you look at it in a weekly structure, this is what you have. And now it's actually lining up with what we have on gold dollar. When we looked at it the first time, it was looking very different from the gold dollar structure. But the gold dollar structure is developed in such a way that, remember I said gold dollar is going to go sideways and then eventually drop? Well, this is actually going sideways and eventually it should drop here. So it's like a 1, 2, 3 structure. Well, from there, we will decide whether they go back up more or whether they continue to go down. Here is an example of how that looks like. See, this drops here and then they start to go. So you can see this flat pattern that is forming. We will probably get a very simple one like that here, or maybe a much more complex one. On the daily, we are in the sideways part of it. I don't think it's completed. I think we're going to go up some more because we're making a correction here. So we think gold should go up a few more, come down, go up, and all of that. I think the same thing is going to happen here, and then we'll get the drop. So if you go in the 4 hour, what you're looking at is this. You're looking at the possibility of this. I don't think this is real. Part of it might be, the whole thing is not real because we checked the number of the providers, not all of them have it. This one is going sideways, so I could see this literally. This was a sell setup here. We were selling it to come back to this level. It actually stopped short here. That you could call it a break-even trade. You probably got a few pips out of it. Call it a break-even trade. It didn't break out as yet, which means eventually it still has to break out, right? Eventually this sideways still has to break out of that sideways that is going in, but first it will have to go back up now. If you're looking at like this would have to go back up at some point, maybe come back up to like this and then drop here. So the buy here is not an interesting one as yet. I don't think it's a good buy. I don't think this is the one that will take off. So I'm not interested in the buys yet. If we get this sell setup, if this comes here and give us a sell setup here to the downside, the sell might be interesting to break this low. It will probably drop like this, and then we'll look for a buy setup. Because this is more of a corrective structure to go up. Now, if I'm wrong about that and they totally drop through the bottom, which means if we sell here and this drops through the bottom, good for us. We'll be okay with that, right? So I think this is going to go up some more, and then from there, we're going to get the downside. So we're looking for a short-term sell, a buy, and then a sell. Euro? I think this is pretty easy. So if you were following me last year, remember what I said. We won the euro when it was doing all of this. We were like, this is 1, this is 2. We wanted to come and break this top. Break the top and then look for your sell setup, right? So this is here because we thought this would go break the top, but it took a while. They actually broke the top. Here's the problem. I don't like the way they broke the top. I don't like the way this broke the top because the way it broke the top is not very impulsive like this. It actually was very slow. So if you take this out and you look at it, take this out and take this one out. If you come into this and you look at it, this thing was really, really, really slow, right? And we've got a sharp move up, we've got a sharp move down, and then you started to get these, you started to get these. I think this looks here, this is going to come back here. It will break the top again. We're going to have a flat like this. And we had one of this pattern already previously. Break the top. And then if we break the top, we're likely going to start to do the same thing down here, then retest the top and drop. I don't see this thing really going down very fast. It's possible, but I don't like this is more of a corrective structure rather than an ending impulse, right? So although we broke the top, I'm not very keen on the downside as yet. If I'm going to sell this, I need a very good flat here. I need this to actually consolidate here very well, and then we'll go with that chance. On a 1 hour flag, I would probably be very careful of the sell. But if we get a buy setup, which means if we get a buy setup here, we'll take that trade. We'll take the risk with a stop here. Because the chances of this being a running flat is very high for this to go up. Worst case is we'll get break even out of a trade like that. Because if they're consolidating instead of going up, right? If they're consolidating here, we'll have enough time to take it out for positive. And that means we'll get a break even and we'll look for the sell. So on the 1 hour, if you get a buy setup, guys, if that's a trade setup we can go with. It's starting to consolidate. If you take this out, it's starting to consolidate here. If we get a flag here, we'll go with that trade. So let's see which one it gives us, a flag or a flat. A flat would be a sell, a flag would be a buy. I'll take this out as well. Let's go. Pang. So literally this was our buy setup, but the buy was only to actually retest this top. Right, that was the buy setup to retest that top. But it seems we've gone much further. If you close your trade here, that's good. Whether you buy that or whether you buy this is a very big thing. I don't know whether you would. Let's take this out. And let's go back into this trade. This still looks, this was looking very much flat until we make that big one. So what are we doing now on the 4 hour? Well, we have done this before. You can see it happened here and it happened there. And what happens after that now that we'll decide what we're doing, right? On the big picture, this could actually be an upside, right? If you look at it this way, we have a move down. We have a flat in the middle and we have a move down. This could actually be an upside, right? That could be all the correction and we're going up. Or we could be making a bigger correction here. This actually, we did break the top here, right? I think we did. So with this here, what if this is a running flat of its own and a separate one? We'll probably come here and then drop again. Could this actually come down all the way to the bottom here? I think it's possible if you look at the weekly structure or in this sideways move. So we made a move up, we made a move down, we made a move up. Can this move come back down to the bottom here and then go up? That possibility exists because this has the biggest correction in here, right? That has the biggest correction. Now, what you have to be careful of right now, if this is a running flat or not, is how this goes down, if it goes down, right? If it starts to go down, we will take any sell setup we get. Can it actually go up and this be the low? Let's say that was a corrective structure. This was the low and we're totally going up. This is just a correction and we're totally going up. That is possible as well. That possibility exists. I don't think it's going to happen, but it exists as a possibility because, you know, we just can't assume that this is not the low immediately. We did break the low here. This could be a correction. This could just be a 1, 2, 3 impulse down. That is possible. I think it is possible, but it's unlikely because this has the biggest correction. So we will go with that as the B1. And we were expecting this to come down here. So we start looking for sell setups. We go in the 1 hour, go in the 4 hour, and we go in the 1 hour and we look for sell setups, which means what we want to see here is this making any flag for a sell. Right now, we don't have any flag for a sell. So we'll wait and see if this goes make another 1 eye. We look for a sell setup. Can we buy this here? At the top here, I will not buy it. So if I have to buy, let's say we think Pound is going to go up and Euro is going to go up and Aussie is going to go up, and I would look to buy anything else that has a better setup for the upside rather than the Pound. But if we get a sell setup on the Pound, I will take it because the bigger picture is telling me more downside on the Pound. Aussie. So let's go in the 4 hour in the Aussie and the daily in the Aussie. The daily in the Aussie is consolidating at the top here. You can literally see that. We drop, we pull back, and we're consolidating here. So now the question is this all the consolidation to take off? Or are we going to drop some more here and then take off? That's the only question you would have. Is this thing going to consolidate much more and then take off, or is it going to take off now? If you go into 4 hours, it's not looking like it's going to take off now, right? This doesn't look like something that will take off. That looks like something that is consolidating here. I can see them going up here. I can even see some more here, possibility, but then this looks like it's going to, the more you consolidate here, the more you're looking for a drop. This one was so sharp and that drop. And if you remember, if you were following me last year, remember when we had this, I was like, let's go break the top and then we're coming down. So that's exactly what we're expecting here. Now in the 1 hour, there might be a buy setup. There's a possibility you're getting a buy setup. Although this looks like it's finished, I think this might be some kind of a correction here for one more up and then the drop. So if we get a flag here for a buy setup, we'll take that trade out. Once we break this top, we'll get it to the positive and then we'll see, try to get the maximum profit out of it before we get a sell setup. If I'm wrong and they take off, well, good for us. We'll be in the buy, right? New Zealand, go back to the daily. I think this one is even much easier than the Aussie. Same thing, you've got an impulse and you're in a sideways move here. You're going up and down and you're here. I think they should come back here. There's a good chance it should go back there. Maybe come back here. We'll look at that in the bigger pattern afterwards, but it could also break out. So let's go look at that in the 4 hour. And we were trying to buy it last year. I think that would have been a break-even trade. It had like 10 hours it didn't go. Take it off, put an entry there. What are the chances this still goes? Still possible. But I think most likely we will, I'll take this off now. I think most likely we will come down first some more. So this up move here, if you put this into it and you put this in the picture, we're gonna come here, go back up there, make a flat, and then drop, and then go back up. I think that's the most, if this turns out to be a flat, then the most likely scenario is you'll break the low here and then go up. So no buying of this as yet, and no selling of it as yet. We'll wait for that setup to prove it's what we think it is. And if it turns out to be what we think it is, we will go for the trade. If we're going to take any risky trade in this, it will be to the upside. Right? If there's a good setup for a buy and we want to take a trade, it would be a good trade to take. So let's go into CAD. Daily, I think this is pretty easy. We're going sideways. Weekly, you're in a big sideways move. I think you can literally see that move. So let me just put it for you. We're looking at this, and we're looking at this. And right now, we're in this stage of it. We've got this move down, and we're doing something here. Now, this could be two things. This could literally be means you're consolidating here to drop one more and then go up. That's one option. Or it could mean that this is consolidating here to go up. And this was all the flat. Right? That is a possible. This was a 1, 2, 3. This is a 1, 2, 3. And this one is coming down here. 1, it could be a 2, it could be a 3, or it could just take off. It doesn't have to be a 2 or 3 because we broke the low. Right? By rule, if you broke the low, it doesn't have to be 3 waves. It could be a single wave. So on the daily, we're in this piece here, still deciding which direction we're going, up or down. This was a sell. That sell might have become a break even. Oh, that sell would have closed for profit. That was this sell here, the sell of this small flag. Closed for profit because it went back up. You would have closed the trade somewhere here. There was enough reason to do that. And let's take this out now. So where are we in the big picture here? Nowhere. As yet, I don't see anything else here that makes sense for a trade. Not for the buy, not for the sell. I'll wait some more. Let's see if we make a flag here. 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second, please. Let me mute this. Okay, guys, sorry about that. My son is in homeschool, as an online schooling, so he's home, and that is a headache by itself. The school he's going to is closed because of the COVID. Again, in the school they had a lot of sickness. Sorry about that. Let's just move on here. Yeah, let's go. Yes. So I'm looking at this as a possible sideways here, which means I think this might consolidate here, come back here, and then go. The big picture of CAD is upside. But short term, we might get a trade back to this level. Let's see what happens here. If it stays here, we will sell. If they go up, we will definitely buy above the top. But we will wait for a flag to buy above the top. If we get a flag earlier than that, which means if we get a flag here, we'll definitely consider that one to break this top. And then if that takes off, good for us. Can we look at this as all a consolidation? I think it's possible, but it's too small. It's possible, but it's too small. So I'd probably not go for that. We know the big picture in CAD is upside. We just have to wait for this to make a flat. And I think if it actually comes back here, that would be good, right? Then we can look for the upside. This would be a good enough flat. Let's see. Let's wait and see. You can see these had a lot of pullback. So it wouldn't surprise me to come back here and then we'll go for the trade. Yen. So dollar yen, big picture going up, right? So when I showed this forecast that yen is coming to retest this top on YouTube, one fella said, if that happens, you would stop trading. Good luck to you, my friend. You're about to stop trading, but don't do that. Here's my advice to you. Join my group. Don't stop trading. You might become the best trader in the world. You never know. So I would not encourage you to stop trading. You're wrong, and that's okay. We're all wrong. I'm wrong 10 times a day, maybe 20 times a day. That's okay. It's human beings to be wrong. So we're heading for the top. You can see we're already going there. We would go with this as the flat. This thing is making some weird correction. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up using this as the running flat with this as a correction here. There are many possibilities of how you can look at the patterns here. That is less important. What is important is we're coming here. But here, what happens when it gets there? So if you're actually a serious trader and you really want to make sure you don't miss all of this, even if you miss this, you don't want to miss this move down. This is the reason why you should join my group. You don't want to miss that move down, right? We know it's coming. We literally know it's coming because the move up came, right? It happened. So is this the one taking off? Well, once you break that up, any flag is a buy. It's very simple. Once you break the top here now, and we've broken the top, it's either going to drop back here to make a bigger running flat and then go, or it's going to totally go, which means any flag here becomes a buy setup until you break this top. Now, how high they go above that top, that's irrelevant. They can go very high above that top. But once you tag the top, the pattern is completed in terms of the requirement for completion. It doesn't say how high above the top it has to go. It just means the requirement is tagging the top for a regular flat. Can it actually drop from here and go down? That would be a contracting flat. Rare, but it happened. It was in the dollar index. It's on the euro. It's, I think, the euro. Yeah, it's also on the euro on the weekly, right? So I think they will break the top. That's my hope. They will break the top. But if they come very close and don't break it, no problem. That's part of how patterns behave. So I'm going to look at the last one now for this webinar, which is Swiss. I'm going in a lot of details on these charts, right? So we would have to make a number of webinars. Like I said, for today, there's going to be about 6, 7, 8, 9 videos. Most of them will be on YouTube. But if you want to get them really fast and you want to go follow me and share vision, and you will get a lot of them very fast because I'll be doing them in my group and then post them up there. We're in a big sideways move here, and this one is pretty clear. If you were following again last year, you would have known that we forecast that one up, and now we're forecasting the down move. Here's the thing. I'm not sure this correction is over. It looks like we're still in this correction here, right? I hope it is over. That's the end of it. We're coming down. So I'm forecasting the move to come back to this level, break this low, and then go back up. So we can move this a little more. We know it's going to be a little further. We'll move this a little here, and we'll move this a little there because it's coming down slow, very slow. This is a possible running flat. I think this could be a possible running flat here. Maybe this piece is the whole correction. This whole piece is the correction. We go back up all the way to the top and then drop. What I'm looking for is a sell setup. If I don't get a sell setup, I'm not trading it as yet, right? If this doesn't come down, there's no trade for me as yet. Right in it. We're not looking for any trades as yet that we don't get a sell setup. So we'll wait for a sell setup. A buy setup here is not something I would trade. I would rather trade the buy and the CAD. So if I get a buy setup in the yen, the CAD, and the Swiss, I think you know what I'm buying. I'm buying the yen and I'm buying the CAD. I'll leave the Swiss. If I get a sell setup on the yen, the CAD, and the Swiss, I'm selling the Swiss. Right? It's that easy. So we'll see which one we get. I've completed all the majors. The webinar is pretty long. I came here at 9 something, it's already 10. All the webinars will be about an hour, although it's just a few because we're going in very detailed into them. Let's take a break. We don't want everybody to get too confused in them. And I will come back, we will do the crosses, and then we will do these, and then, so like 4 webinars today. Take it easy, we'll get all the, and then we will go into the details in our trading room on the 1 hour. And some of those details will be posted on Share Vision. Thank you, guys. I would leave the group. You guys in the group, I would leave you here. You don't have to go anywhere, right? I would leave. I'll just leave. I'm kind of babysitting as well. You know that. So I'll leave you guys. Thanks to all my YouTube viewers. If you like what I do, follow me in Share Vision as well. And please remember, share the video so more people can learn about this method. It works, right?